Ladies and gentlemen, today's video is brought to you by a subscriber request on wanting to know more about the art that I had hanging up around my room. And so, without further ado, I'll just kind of go through them one by one here. And also, while I'm going through this, if you want to check out any more of the art that I've created, and if you're interested in purchasing or just donating or anything like that, you can go to regalchange.com and you'll find more art there. With that being said, this piece was created about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and I didn't really know what I was doing at the time. I was just kind of creating, and that's really my process for art in general. Is I don't really have a process. I just kind of intuitively do things. and with this piece specifically, I had a acrylic paint on the backdrop, and just kind of as a place to work off of, and to just have that background color, and then I put oil paint on top of it. And this is the goddess Isis. This is the god Thoth, and they're both from the Egyptian gods and goddesses culture. And Isis represents fertility and wisdom and motherhood, and then Thoth is the god of magic and science and vision. And so I was really, like I said, I wasn't planning to have them really in this painting, but it just kind of happened that way. And this right here represents, I guess you could say, the self. And this is the king of his own domain, and he's on the rock meditating. And obviously there's this light behind him that really represents, well, it represents just kind of the light of the self as well. And then this is a representation of a wizard, or like Gandalf from Lord of the Rings. And then this boy, there was something about wanting to capture the old man or the sage with the young boy that has an adventure to go on. And those are the stairs, or excuse me, these stairs right here. Those stairs, I was listening to Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven at the time I was painting this. And so I don't know, it just kind of struck me as something to paint. And so those stairs, that Stairway to Heaven leads to the universe, really. And these are mountains, at least they were kind of created that way. And then obviously the galaxy over here, and then the world. And so I didn't really know what these were right here. They kind of just represented this dark side or monster side that is within us all. And then here is the spiral of life with all the colors of the rainbow. And the faces there in the top section right here and over here, I suppose they were, at the time I was just dealing with the faces of the narcissists in my life, and just realizing the masks that they wear and that they really choose to want to wear. And so that was really just part of the process of just realizing that. And the water here in the middle with Gandalf like wizard and the boy is kind of the Red Sea, the opening of the Red Sea, even though I didn't really know it at the time. And the checkered box below here is just kind of the yin and yang, I suppose, of life. This is a shamanic drum. Now, I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard a shamanic drum before, but the shamanic drums, they're used in meditation and in a lot of different cultures where people would try to get into deep meditative states. And I got this drum from a music store here in my local town, and I don't know why, I just decided to paint it. I thought it would look cool. so that's what I did. And obviously you see here there's like a turtle swimming into the void. And at the bottom here, at the bottom here is just kind of this arc of life, and everything else is really abstract. It's a very abstract painting, and that was kind of the point, but also not really the point. Again, I painted this over with entirely acrylic as well, and I just really wanted to pay homage to my ancestors, really, and where I've come from and where we've all been. This is a painting that one of my friends actually did, and I got it from her a few years ago, and I thought it was just a really cute little painting, and I've always, I don't know, there was something about it that just kind of spoke to me at the time, so I was able to get it from her, and I've had it ever since, and yeah, I don't know, kind of like it. This painting I actually got from it's a really funny story actually. So I was going through COVID at the, like, we were all going through COVID at the time. Like, I got this in like April or May of 2020. And the people that I got it from approached me at a Walmart parking lot, and they were originally going to sell it for like $25, but they would only take cash. And at the time I only had like $10 cash on me. But I thought what they were doing was so cool because they just had all these beautiful paintings. I mean, they had some that were just gigantic, and they were just like traveling through the USA, going to these stores and just trying to like bring joy to the people. And I thought that was just such a cool idea. So I gave them the $10 that I had, and I just said, take it as a donation. And I went back to my car, and on my way out to leave, they like ran me down and stopped me, and they were like, okay, here, just pick one of these three, and we'll just give it to you. And I was like, you don't have to do that. And they were just like, no, please, like, you didn't have to give us the money. And so I ended up choosing this one mainly because I liked the kind of the abstract quality of it as well. And now whenever I look at it, I just have that memory of just being an artist, and how art really does reshape the goals of humanity, and art reshapes how we can give back to humanity and to the world. This painting here was also done with acrylic and oil. I did this approximately 3 years ago as well. And I just call it Paradise, because at the time I had a dream. I was confronting the devil, and then I've also had meditations and active imaginations where they were basically like living fantasies of some kind, where I would be approaching the devil, and he had his throne of fire over a pyramid of stone, and at the very top was a cross, like engraved into I don't know if you guys can see it there, but the cross was engraved into the stone, and there was flame all around it. And it was just it was a crazy dream, but that's kind of just what happened. And here we have the heart and the feather, and it's kind of like a weight here. You can see that black spot, like the black line going through here to the eye, the center of the world, to the center of the universe, to this infinity symbol here in the middle. And the heart and the feather in the Egyptian mythology, when you died, they would put your heart on the scale, and if your heart weighed less than the feather, you'd make it to heaven. But if it weighed more than the feather, you'd go to hell. And I thought that was a very interesting. I didn't understand it until like this last couple years, or this last year really. But there was something about it that made me want to put it into a piece of art in a visual form. And so the really it's just the balancing of the heart and like what your works were in life and if they were righteous or not. And then obviously the tree with roots reaching to hell, and the blood of the tree of liberty reaching into hell as well. And just accepting that nature is going to be far more beautiful than the suffering of life, but nature is the suffering of life. And then finally, this last one that I have hanging up. There we go. So I did this one about 2 years ago. And again, I had acrylic as the base and then did oil over it. And I had a dream where this was, about 2 years ago, I'd say. I had a dream where this water dragon was trying to steal like the gold that I had trying to store away. And the dragon also had a woman that was needing to be saved and protected. And so I had this warrior with a trident, and I'm not really sure why I did the trident. Still don't really know why exactly, but it just felt right. And then I have the pillars of light and darkness to represent, again, the yin and yang aspects of life. And the tree here, the tree is just with the sun behind it, or this like brightness behind it, just represents that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. And you can see here that these four like circles with four pieces of the pie, really kind of like they look like pieces of pie in front of the tree. These are symbols like of God, and this is almost the oldest symbol known to man, is that symbol, that circle with the two lines through it. It represents not just the quaternity of God, but it also represents the completeness of God. And who knows really how old that symbol is. In Carl Jung's findings, he's found that it could reach back up to 6,000 to 10,000 plus years. So one of the oldest symbols known to man, apart from like petroglyphs and everything like that. And who knows, it might even be older than that. And then obviously this is the Aztec, like one of the Aztecs' pyramids, and the dragon is protecting this something or other, this light, this star on top of it. And the Aztec temple here, I actually experienced in a psychedelic trip about 4 years ago. It was a horrific experience, but also very enlightening. I had taken probably the biggest dose of psilocybin mushrooms that I would ever recommend myself taking ever again. And I was hurled into a avalanche of memories, and they didn't really feel like my memories. It felt as if I was living other lives. And one of these lives was when I was like in the Aztec realm, and I was a man that had tried to do something rebellious, and it was not taken very lightly by the chief. And so I was brought to the top of this ancient Aztec place. And all I heard at the time in this trip was the sound of whips being whipped against the stone. And everything turned out okay afterward, but it was very frightening for that experience. It was like it was a warning of some kind, and it was like you're on a path that may or may not lead you to where you want to go. And the only way to know is to keep going. And so during the trip, I kept going, and I kept exploring, and it was like the mushrooms themselves were guiding me through this fantastic experience. And I was I was really in awe of just how beautiful and horrific at the same time something could be. It was just the purity of the love and the truth all together into one experience. And so I added that to this painting after a while to kind of just leave that impression and imprint on my spirit. And I found really that visual art has really helped me because I'm a very imaginative person, and so art has really helped me express emotions in ways that I didn't think were possible before. But anyway, that is just some of the pieces of art that I have on my wall. I To the subscriber that left the comment, I hope this was informative and useful, and also entertaining. And again, if you guys have any questions or anything about other people or other art that I've done, then please visit regalchange.com. Until next time, peace be with you.